Memories are as painful as I can remember. I will wash away the pain by eating some spicy chips that will make me salivate. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about the theme song, okay? Welcome, everyone, to the Rider Time Podcast here on the Morphin Network. I'm Mike, your host, and we're here to discuss Kamen Rider Gavv, Episode 5. Memories are painful. And yes, to commemorate this episode, I'm eating spicy protein chips because I don't eat potato chips, but I love my snack spicy. And it just so happens that this episode is about spicy snacks, so yay! I'm so happy about this episode. And they're keeping up with the momentum, and I love it. Oh man, this is so wonderful. I'm just enjoying myself so much. So, for funsies, let's begin by discussing spicy snacks. They're the most fun kind of snacks. Whether I mentioned it before or have not, spicy is not a flavor. It is a texture. Just one of those fun things to know. There's only 5 flavors. Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, umami. What is spicy? It's a texture. Because your tongue doesn't just taste things, it also feels things. And the way you experience the sensation of spiciness is spicy food tends to use a chemical called capsaicin, which is found in various kinds of peppers, also known as capsicum. That is the family of the family. It is the genus of this group of fruits, which include bell, jalapeno, serrano, habanero, ghost reaper, dragon breath. And yes, this fatty acid is mostly commonly found in the seeds of such fruits. And what is it good for? It triggers your thermal receptors in your tongue to stimulate the sensation of increased temperature. So even though your mouth remains its normal 37-degree temperature, your brain is being told there is a sudden increase in temperature. There might be fire or something. So when you use the word hot, it has multiple meanings, but as far as your brain concerned, they all mean the same thing. Spicy means increased temperature, or at least the sensation of increased temperature, even though increased temperature is not actually occurring in your mouth. And because it's a fatty acid, the last thing you want to do is drink water when you eat spicy food because fatty acid is hydrophobic. It moves around. It causes the acid to spread, which means the sensation of heat goes all over your mouth instead of staying localized to your tongue. Best way to deactivate it? Well, if you know anything about acids, you gotta use a base. What is a good base? Menthol! Like the kind you find in soda. Because it creates a sensation of cooling. Also, fun fact, cola is made, the main ingredient to cola, at least real cola, I don't know what Coke and Pepsi are doing, but the real main ingredient of cola is cilantro, which contains menthol, which creates a sensation of cooling, while capsaicin creates a sensation of heating. And that's why when you eat tacos, it's the best experience ever, because you get menthol and capsaicin at the same time, creating the sensation of both heating and cooling at the same time. They don't cancel out. They're just mutually occurring. Now that we got the fun, gustatory facts out of the way, let's talk about this episode. What a spicy episode. And pun absolutely intended, because everything I loved about the first 4 episodes so far, they keep going with the momentum. Like, we wake up with Shoma inside a cave with a mysterious granite who's very chubby. And that granite's name is Dente, which is a Latin word for teeth. And and he asks Dente, who are you and how do you know my dad? Well, the reason why I know bouche, which is the French word for mouth, is I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate. And what does that make us? Absolutely nothing, which is what you shall become. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, that's a Spaceballs reference. No, he's actually his father's younger brother, which makes him Shoma's grand uncle. Okay, we're expanding the family line. Okay, we're getting some world building in. And turns out Dente was actually one of the head researchers in Stomach Incorporated, and he's the one who came up with the process for human pressing, which is when the humans shrink into those fruit roll-ups. I'm still gonna call them fruit roll-ups every now and then because it's just fun, and I want to keep the 90s alive for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, like in the previous episode, we learned that pressing humans into fruit roll-ups is a new process. Now we know who made it happen. And on top of that, he taught this process to Niev, which is why Niev knows how to do it without Dente's presence. Dente's been in exile for a while. He put himself into exile. He wasn't exiled by others. So we actually do find out some interesting stuff about this family tree. So Bosch is indeed Shoma's granute father who procreated with Shoma's human mother. What I find interesting about Bosch's design is that it's actually very similar to Lango's design, except with a few changes, mainly like an additional mouthpiece, and he's got a beard and a mustache, which kind of makes him look like an evil version of Master Header from Tensou Sentai Go Sager. But he's not all bad, I guess. I guess he's bad in the Percy Jackson kind of way, where it's like, yeah, you crossbred with a human, and now you have this half-blood as a child, and when he turns 16, something bad's gonna happen. Yeah, no, I've read the 5 Percy Jackson books. I know there's like 16 in the entire series, but the main 5 Percy Jackson books, I read them. So, I read The Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. So basically, Shoma remembers Bosch as being an asshole because he was being cold to him and his mother, and the mother was always crying. It's like, my dad was a jerk. And Dente's like, actually, your father loved you and your mother. The thing is, he had to pretend to be cold in order to keep you from being too happy, because then you would have turned into Dark Spice. Of course, Shoma doesn't believe that for a minute. And I'm thinking, you know what this show reminds me of? Yu Yu Hakusho. Because Yusuke Urameshi finds out he's half Masaku because his Masaku ancestor, Ryzen, procreated with a human woman and they had a child. But, Ryzen and this woman did fall in love with each other when they procreated. So, yeah. I'm going to go on a limb and say I'm going to think that maybe despite the tears and that one backhand that we saw in the flashback, I think Shoma's mom actually really did love Shoma's father, but you know, bad stuff happened, and she was more sad about the fact that she can't openly love him, or that she was trapped in this room because leaving would mean that the rest of the Stomach family will be out to get them. But we also find out that Dente is also the one who performed the surgery on Shoma, because as it turns out, Shoma's Gavv was not originally the way it was supposed to be, and turns out that Boj personally asked Dente to perform surgery on Shoma to make him able to produce his own minions. So yeah, so the agents that we see throughout the series, yes, those are the minions. Because for the first time, and yes, this is the first time we actually see it happening. Yeah, while the members of the Stomach family are able to spit out agents from their black gobs, like typical. So it's like why do his minions look different now? So I was like wondering, are the agents the minions, or are there like minions that are unique specifically uh to each member of the Stomach family, but they're not as small as the Gochizos? Turns out, yeah, no, it's the agents who are the minions. So we're actually learning some interesting stuff here, and and so he performed surgery on Shoma so that he could at least try to make his own agents, but unfortunately the experiment did not work, or so he thought they didn't work, because at the time he wasn't able to summon them, but now he can. And this was a surprise even to the twins in the previous episode, because they're like, oh, now he can summon minions, but his minions look weird. So this leads us to like the actual twins. It's like, so this is clearly the work of our granduncle, because it's so typical. Like, his late is belated, but what do you expect from the person who raised Niev? So we do have confirmation that Niev was personally trained by Dente. And by the way, I'm very suspicious. I'm still very suspicious about Niev's allegiance, both to the family, to Gavv, or him being like a third party antagonist, because he definitely has his own secrets. And as we've seen in the previous episode, we do have reason to suspect that he's definitely spying on Hanto to some capacity. So naturally, Dente hands Shoma some spicy chips, because he's like, yeah, so like I was in a rut because my experiments on you didn't work, and I did care about you, by the way. So I was sad that the surgery did not work at the time. So I went to the human world to do more research on humans, and I've come to like humans, come to like human snacks, and that's how I got so fat. Shoma runs off. Shoma runs off, finds a little boy who lost his toy, which is inside a grate. And then an evil clown shows up offering balloons. I'm just kidding. No, what actually happens is Shoma does try to help him pull the toy. And first, he hesitates, because he's thinking that if I help this boy, he might become happy, and he might become a target for Dark Spice. But he helps him anyway, because he comes to an epiphany. Not gonna lie though, I wish that moment of hesitation was a little bit longer than just 2 seconds. Like, I wish it lasted like a good 15 seconds. I think 15 seconds would have been a better way to like show that sudden change in his personality, in his opinion. Helps him return that toy, and he realizes, no, there's nothing wrong with being happy. What's really wrong is using other people's happiness to turn them into dark candy. And yeah, so he takes a bite of his spicy chips, and we get heaty chips. Meanwhile, Some part-timer tries to hand over some pressed humans, and he only gets because they're like low quality. He only gets one cube of dark candy. So it's like, oh, better save it for later. And by the way, I love this guy's design. I mean, his monster design, because he looks like a giant mouth covered in saliva. Like he's drenched in saliva. I respect the props department for this one. Like, this is really well done. So the twins, when they were talking about Dente, they're confronted by Lango, who reprimands them for not doing their jobs. And he's like, you do realize that if you don't do your jobs, you guys are fired. And I'm going to have my own agents to do the job for you. No, please don't fire us. We're family. Family means nothing to me. I'm here in order to expand our empire. Because as it turns out, even in the world of granules, dark candy is still an illegal substance. You still have to get in the black market. I find that to be very interesting. I find it interesting that, like, even in the Granute Society, dark candy is something that's dealt under the table. That is actually an interesting development. And yeah, so like it's like, oh, so you got like a Granute child getting regular candy, but then there's like an adult Granute who I swear looks familiar. He like under the table asks that same vendor for dark candy, like, and he hides behind a pillar and he eats like he's all ashamed of himself. It's like, yeah, it's an illegal substance. You're addicted to it. I mean, and that's part of Lango's goal. Like, he wants to get like the rich and powerful to get addicted to the substance, because hopefully it'll eventually become legalized in Granute Society. So I'm like, Okay, we're not even gonna hide it. We're not even hiding it. We are straight up discussing substance abuse in a kids show. Not gonna lie, I respect the way you're doing it. I'm just surprised you're doing it, period. Especially considering why Jaka Dengekitai almost got canceled. Alright. So, Hanto finds out from Salt. Until I remember the characters' names, I'm going to refer to them as Salt and Sour. Sour's doing research on Choco Gochizo, while Salt is doing his own investigation. Hey, listen, I'm going to need you to find some information, because there's something about some celebrities going to some illegal thing going on, and we need to do a stakeout. It's like, hold on, let me take care of something. So while Hanto's doing his own walkabout, he finds a trapped Gochizo, and it leads him to two agents trying to pack a bunch of humans that have been pressed. Of course, he gets caught by them, so he goes on the run from them, and thankfully, this happens around the same time that Shoma is able to have his epiphany. He finds the two agents. He tries to rescue Hanto at first, and of course, at first, Zaku Zaku Chips isn't getting the job done. So he gets an assist from Hiri Hiri Chips, which turns his potato chip swords into flaming potato chip swords. And oh my god, the choreography on this is amazing. Like, whenever he slashes with his chips, like, they release these massive arches of flame, and they stay there, and it looks amazing. Like, the art, the visual artistry of the way he uses Hiri chips is amazing. And of course, he naturally defeats the two agents. I'm not gonna waste any time on this more than the fact that the visuals of Hiri chips is amazing. I'm not a fire guy, more of an ice guy, but way to use those flaming chips, my big flaming chips. And there's even a part when he gets four flaming chip swords, and then traps one of the agents inside of it, like it's freaking Venom from Spider-Man 3. It was amazing. It was the way it was shown was just visually amazing. So naturally, Shoma tries to rescue the people that have been pressed, and what's really weird is that even though these people can clearly see Gavv like rescuing these people, it's like, hey, look, oh look, you're over here. Oh, look what I'm doing with these. Oh look, I've released these other people. Oh look, I'm releasing more people. And of course, they're scared of him, calling him monster, and of course, Hanzo's like, hey, he's not a monster. He just rescued you, idiots. He's the Kamen Rider, right? You're the Kamen Rider. It's like, hey man, thanks for like trying to stick up for me. And then like he just swoops away. Hopefully those people change their minds and end up liking Gavv because, when people are scared of the superhero, it's a rough gig. I respect that. And, I really hope there'll be a situation where some people start to like him while others are still scared of him because, he does have that stomach. He has that mouth on his stomach. So, yeah, I would love to see where like people end up becoming divided as to whether he's a hero, a threat, or a menace. Front page news: Kamen Rider Gavv, threat or menace? But he rescued a bunch of people. Well, it's convenient that he knew where they were. What is he trying to hide? For all I know, he's the reason why they were trapped in the first place. Actually, can you imagine if J. Jonah Jameson was in this show and Hanzo had to deal with that? But yeah, so Hanzo collects his he pays the informant fee to our homegirl. God, I'm trying to remember her name because it's like her given name is right there, like on the theme song, Sachika. But it's like I'm more used to like calling her Amane because Lisa Amane, I guess. Now it's just ruined for me. Okay, I'm just gonna start calling her Sachika from now on. But yeah, so Sachika collects the informant's fee because she did provide information. And of course, as Hanzo's leaving, Shoma tries to show up. And of course, like Hanzo thankfully doesn't recognize Shoma because that's right, he didn't he barely saw him transform 2 episodes ago. So like, okay. Will he find out though? Who knows? But yeah, so Shoma comes to Sachika and says, I want to start working with you. I want to make people happy, but I want to do it in my own way. It's like, well, welcome to the club. You're here on a probational level, and I can't have you sleep here on the couch, so you're gonna have to sleep up there. And of course, Salt is doing a stakeout, and then he gets attacked by the part-timer from earlier in the episode. So how will this play out in the next episode? We'll find out. But based on the trailer, we might finally see Kamen Rider Valens. So let's see. What can I say? Honestly, I don't think I've said anything. I don't think there's anything more I could say that I haven't already said. This is an amazing episode. It's a 10. It's a wonderful episode. Like, if I had to nitpick, I wish that the epiphany scene was just a smidge longer. But other than that, it's like, yeah, it was wonderfully done. We get character expansion. We learn more about the relationship between various characters. We learn more about the Granute world. We learn more about Shoma's past and his abilities, and he develops as a character. Because, like, and I know that, like, Achilles, actually, shout out to Achilles, already mentioned this a little bit, but I have to state my agreement. I actually appreciate that, like, here, he doesn't have, like, a pre-existent moral compass here. It's like, he is, like, he's a good guy, but he's not, like, doing good for the sake of good right away, where it's like, oh, I need to help people indiscriminately. No, like, he needs some time to get to that point, and I'm glad it took us 5 episodes to get to that epiphany. Basically, he's more like, how do I put it? He's more like Ace Yukio and less like Keiwa. I don't like how Keiwa is just, like, oh, I want world peace, but it has no direction what that word even means to him. Here, like Shoma, I appreciate that he understands that he has to learn that people should be happy, but the suffering that comes from their happiness is not in the fault of them being happy. It's in the fault of other people taking advantage of them being happy. I appreciate that. And of course, Hiri Chips, I love spicy food. I'm not a fan of pyrokinesis, but I love spicy food. So getting a superpower based on eating spicy food is amazing. And I love it. And of course, I'm just super happy about it. I can't wait to see the next episode. I especially want to learn more about Niel's backstory because there's a lot more to him than is being led on. Let me know what you guys said in the comments. Time for some spicy chips. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Me gusta mucho. Absolutely. Me gusta la comida caliente. Another reason why Gavv is better than Gottchard. We actually see his mysterious dad. Oh my god, yes! 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 5 episodes. 5 freaking episodes. 5 episodes. 50 episodes, we still don't know anything about Ichinose's dad. 5 episodes. We know what Shoma's dad looks like, what he's all about, what happened to him. Gavv, even the smallest, most nitpicking reasons, you're still better than Gottchard. Why are you this good? Why are you this good of a season? No, for real. We got to see his dad in only 5 episodes. I know, right? And we get an uncle as a bonus. Okay, that's funny. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Ding the bell icon. Stay notified for our latest videos. We typically do Ultraman arc on Mondays, Kamen Rider Gavv on Wednesdays. Today's Tuesday. We moved it to a day earlier. Bakuage Sentai Boom Boom Draw on Thursdays, and Kamen Rider Gaim on Sundays. We just did the winter film this past weekend. So up next, we're doing the next batch of episodes. We're moving on to the second arc. And I have some choice things to say about the structure of this, about the structuring of the arcs in Gaim. It's a great season. I just don't like the arc structuring for reasons I'm going to go into on Sunday. Also, now that certain things in our personal lives have finally come to an end, we'll be uploading more interviews for Power Morphicons. Definitely check those out. Also, check out our sister channel, The Buttery Show, where we do various movie reviews. We've done the original 4 Crow films, the 4 Shrek movies, the 3 Naked Gun movies, various 90s films. We've done both Speed movies, both Mask movies, all 3 Dumb and Dumber movies. Definitely check out our discussion of all 3 of those movies, because I things get a little crazy between me and Leo. So definitely check that out. And if you want to follow me on my personal content, you can find me on Instagram at Boken_Kabuto and on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKabuto. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to stay safe, stay hydrated, update merchandise, kids, hug your loved ones. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.